Good morning, everyone. Well, we made it to the 50 MA yesterday, and prices stopped there, give or take. And now, where are they? Up a little bit. So I don't think it'll hold here. I think it's going to hold here for a few days. It's down a bunch, from that swing high, and from here to here. I measured the S&P before. SPX is about a little over 5%. So it would make sense to get some stabilization here for a few days. You're already in a recession. You didn't keep it. Well, how do you know? I saw Facebook laid off another 1,000 workers today on the news. It's coming. It's coming. They're going to say it. Believe me, they're going to say it. The recession is there. The market will be lower. And that's where we'll probably set up an intermediate term buy. Oh, come on, Alex. You know better than to depend on government numbers. I don't even know what they said, but anyway, we got the lower high, lower low, and recession, a little bit deep, hit the 50, probably going to stabilize here. And, whether it's tomorrow or one day next week, I imagine we're going to get a continuation pattern where it works its way down here, to the 200 and below. 200 isn't lined up with anything there. Well, there it is. I'm looking at that pivot over there, but I don't think that's going to hold it. You can see this pivot right there is lined up with the 200 MA. You can see the horizontal cursor going back and forth across the charts there. And we'll see somewhere when it gets down here. But what we look for now is a continuation pattern. So what price is, gapping up a little bit, maybe they can get a little higher up here to where the resistance is. And then we look for a continuation pattern for it to move down. And so that's what I'm looking for in the next few days. But what would change that? Well, maybe getting up to the 20 MA, that would be a deep retracement. It would be unlikely to get up there. And, we reviewed a whole bunch of charts yesterday here in the green room, and there's so many charts. And, talking about that recession theme, there was cruise lines, it was airlines, it was rails, all of those things, whether it's, consumer spending money on, travel or moving goods and services, all of those things are topping out. So, interest rates going back up, the picture of these inverted yield curves never went away, and now we'll see, does oil start flipping back up, or does it break down? So that's like a double-edged sword. Oil going up, it's like that's an inflation concern, but oil going down could be, hey, who needs it if things are going to slow down? So it'll be interesting to see, you see this head and shoulders top here, whether that actually breaks lower. While we're here on this particular screen, you can see gold flip back down again. And that was the expectation. It was like, okay, the dollar is up here at resistance. So far it was holding up. That goes up, gold's got to go down. And so we'll be looking for into next week. The dollar continues up, market continues down, right? Interest rates, broke out above the high here. And if, they start moving up, well, they'll be above 4%, and coming up here is where, it should be very difficult for them to get much higher. So the higher they go, the more pressure we'll see on the market. And then we'll see where if they get up there, right? If the 10-year gets up here, the dollar is up into this area, where will the S&P be? Maybe at 3,900 or give or take in here. And then we'll be looking for to see, do they start rolling back over again, or does it get worse? So we're a long way from there, but, we'll see how this all plays out. And let's go back to the screen. So again, a little gap up today. It's probably going to chop around and consolidate here. See how high it can get or not. And we looked at the futures, or did we? Let's see. That came down real hard. Vertical drop. That's power. It hit the swing low. It hit the 50 MA. Going to bounce up, right? We usually say give or take about the halfway mark of the wide range bar. Kind of lines up with that minor support. We've got a breakdown failure here. It's consolidating, so bullish price action intraday here for the moment, even with this whip. So maybe it can advance a bit up into this resistance area. And so where does that put us? Just looking at where that is on the bar, about halfway into the bar. So now we go to SPX. And halfway into the bar, take. So the ideal scenario would be above the top of the bar. And Jake is telling me 40.65. What did I have written down? 40.60. 65? Sure. So as this moves up, that's like 65. Did it have? Yeah. So as that moves up, it comes up a little bit, 65 by 75. That should be a good number today. So I'm going up here, 65. How far is that? Up here. And so we think, is it likely that this could get up to that today? The news is already out. Market ain't doing much. Right? So what can move it up there? That would be like a monster day. I think that's a good number, 40.65. Okay. And we've got a pivot up here. And remember, it's got to get through this area and travel all the way up there. No, we don't have the pivot. It's up above that bar. So it's not, I wouldn't call it a no-brainer, but it's a good number. Down below, I had written down 39.45, but that probably doesn't have premium anymore. Yeah, 45 by 50. I just wanted to be on the other side of 39.50. Better to play the put side? Not necessarily. So, the 200 MA is there. It's gapping up. I mean, the put side would be fine. 39.50 is only 40 cents by 50 cents. So, you'd have to go to like 39.55. I mean, if the market rolled over, I wouldn't think it would go there today. But when I look at that, I say, well, that's because this is the move down. If the market didn't go up, maybe it would go down. But I think it's highly unlikely that it's going up that far, no matter what it does. So, you could wait to see if it goes up a little bit more first thing in the morning here. Go back to the futures. You see where they're at here? So they're picking up some steam. I think they will go higher. So, you could wait a little bit. But as this goes up, those put premiums are going to evaporate and you're going to have to get closer. So to do that, you definitely want to be below yesterday's low as far as you can get. So just as a guide, below yesterday's low, this is the futures. We got to go back to SPX. So let's call it 75. And you could go to 39.55, which is right around here. Well, it could probably work, but it's a choice. Getting up here after this drop today, I think unlikely. You could do both sides. All right, let's continue. right? Qs are bouncing up. They come down here to support. At some point, these are already moving. They're already moving up here, right? Toward that resistance area. And they're probably going to keep going until they get there where the sellers are going to be. We know this is broken. It's sitting on support here. I'll say it again. I got to say it every day. Look to the left, right? Take all that other BS off the chart. Your VWAPs and fib lines and trend lines and whatever lines. So it's holding there, chop around, try and move up. Then if it doesn't move up significantly, the next wave down toward the next pivot down here. So definitely underperforming. And let's just look, what is this doing here? I backed off from the 4%. And so NVIDIA's up. And that looks, so that's the bright spot. We'll see how much this holds on. That's the bright spot. That's up near the prior high. So that's a big plus, as far as tech land goes, that's for sure. And we'll see what happens there. So, and Russell, not doing much of anything there. So it's all technology. And so we'll see what other tech stocks get dragged along with that today. And that's, thinking further out past today, NVIDIA being up like that, while interest rates have gone up a little bit, that's a good sign, meaning whatever correction is coming here, to see that kind of price action, intermediate term is a good thing. Yeah, right, Dan. Right. Don in the chat room yesterday said about the NVIDIA being the canary in the coal mine. And Dan was like, what the hell are you talking about? Right? It's like, okay, that's makes sense, meaning canary in the coal mine. Is there toxic gas in here? Right. So NVIDIA being, okay, here's the canary. Canary didn't die. So the market isn't all that terrible since NVIDIA isn't cratering here. Oh, yeah. All right. Consolidation up here a little bit. We'll see what happens when prices get to resistance, looking for some kind of continuation pattern lower into next week. And as the markets correct, and look, sentiment's got plenty of fuel in the tank. Earlier in the week, I said, look, this getting down here, and could it get to even 300? The market's going to bounce. It's just the way it is. But these are not aligned. So what we need to see, ideally, right, to be, saying, hey, here we have this fantastic bullish scenario, which depends on how far the markets come down, right? But if we have sentiment down here into this green band area, lots of put buying, and breadth is down here at a bullish level, and markets, wherever they're going to be, right? I just got this on the chart, but where the hell did it go? Yeah, I gotta scroll it. Wherever the S&P is going to be, whether it's at this pivot down here or wherever it's going to be, when it's at support and we have these internals lined up, we're going to have a situation where we're going to get a decent bounce. So now we're kind of like in the middle of limbo, right? It's like we're looking for a continuation pattern. We're looking for this to correct more. And now we'll see what happens. All right. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Tomorrow we have some big inflation numbers and a bunch of Fed people talking. But yeah, we're getting our expected bounce here. So yeah, NVIDIA, big old gap. I don't know what to do with that. An incredible run off this little bottoming pattern down here. Earnings trades, we did Domino's 305, so a big gap against us. So I'll be watching that at the open. This DVA little bull flag breakout. I don't see where it's gapping. Let's go right at the top of the list here. Baba, there's that magical 200, which was in alignment with the breakout. So that's a put spread idea on a pullback. I'll put that here. I'm not going to do anything with NVIDIA here for a while. But Baba there is a put spread. AMT. I remember. I said this. Well, I said two things. Big old wide range bar, climactic bicep into earnings, regardless of where it opened. I'm watching this for a counter trend trade, preferably a naked put at earnings, so volatility is high. Myrna, I was giving you my fundamental analysis yesterday, saying, this was a COVID thing. Sell setup on the monthly. I think it's I think it's had its best days are gone. So you can look to short that on bounces. No pattern here. NTs. Dr. Pepper, no pattern. AEP, no pattern. Newmont, no pattern. I still have Helga on my long watch list. A mining stock. That's a Climo with a multi-bar turn, so I still got my alarm in that. All right, Rob. Yeah, I missed your earlier comments. We can talk about that later if you want. All right, this is a deep gap into resistance. We'll come back to you at 10 o'clock. This could be the start of a breakdown failure. We'll come back to you. I don't see a gap, but no pattern as of now. Same. That's technically a bear 1, 2, 3, but we don't do bear 1, 2, 3 as far from the 20 and on support. Well, Scott, okay, Scott, that was exactly my conversation yesterday. I am not a fundamentalist. And so I was asking people in the green room, is it a real company beyond COVID? And so that was a discussion. But what I did say was, here's what I said. Look at the monthly flatlined into COVID. See? So whatever their pipeline fundamental business was beforehand on the monthly chart was in a coma. So all of this, to my knowledge, is COVID party. And now was a sell set up on the daily, sell set up monthly. So as a technician, I just had a bearish bias. Power here, we actually put on a way out of the money, the 140 put spread way back here with the intent to hold as a core, but now with the gap up, we should be in good shape on our short puts. So let's move stop yesterday's low. This is just a big wide trading range. Hey, so Don, remember you and I were talking about you like buying support and reversals, and I said, well, so do I, if I have a pattern on that time frame. So this is a beautiful example to short resistance, buy support when you have a tradable pattern. So, that's the discussion I was making, and I was just not Walmart, Merck. And I was saying, this is just, let's, we had that discussion. IRM down a lot on support. This is a put spread idea. I will put this in a window of the computer. Earnings, so volatility should be nice. Nice gapping down 206. We'll come back to you, but call spread candidate. This is a big mess. No interest on grab. There's pizza. Oh, I think I don't see any prints. I think his cousin pizza reported too. Yeah, his cousin's also down. BBWI. I sold puts on this yesterday, the 36s. I didn't post it, but I think this is going to be, it expires tomorrow. So I think I sold them for 30 cents or 35, I forget. So I'm bidding a nickel to close them at the open, but with 99% certainty, I think I'll have an open profit. Despite the gap down, RUN. So here's another one. You can trade bullish reversals on support. Now it's gapping up. This could be a possible 30-minute high and put spread on TDOC. Gapping down. If it cannot take out this pre-market high right here, then 30-minute low, short idea and call spread idea. Bumble here. I gave this as a put spread idea in the weekend letter, but then I canceled it because I thought they were weekly options and it's not. But let's keep this on our keep that on our put spread list. This opening flat grill, but I like the daily weekly. We'll come back to you. Sound, just when Greg said AI was perking a little bit yesterday. This is a competitor, and I don't know what made it rally here pre-market. Maybe with NVIDIA, because NVIDIA is also an AI play. So it's a gap breakout here. Let's watch this on a pullback. SOUN. Windows. That's and these are not earnings trades, not all these. Ross, big topping pattern. So keep an eye as a short when the market is done bouncing. Cake, that's nice. Do you remember yesterday's MT Live? Look, this is a massive, it's either a rectangle or an ascending triangle, or both. Here's my big old flagpole, and it's a bullish weekly monthly. So I like this. I'm going to set an alarm at 4060, hoping that it gaps down, because then I'll have to negate that gap. And 4060, as you know, it's not an entry. I set all my alarms early so I can reassess and then set new alarms. Topping pattern, this, I can't tell where you're gapping, but that's a short in yesterday's low. Brothers gapping down 35 and change. I have no idea. It's going to depend what it does in the first 30 minutes if I have a bullish or bearish bias. IMAX, no prints. PK, no prints. If it opens flat, I like yesterday's high. I like the weekly monthly bottoming also. I'm going to set an alarm at, I see one print here in the minor, 35.10. So I'm going to set an alarm at 35.20, just to have it on my radar. Citra. 24.33. It's gapping too much. SM. It's a Climo and a downtrend. We can find better. Nova. This, just look at these crazy overlapping bars. I have no interest. 1320 gap and resistance. Lemonade. Put spread idea. Bottom of the range here, gapping up. 68-cent stock, no interest. Am wall gapping down, $3 stock, no interest. DBA, that's the earnings one we talked about. And GCOS, bear gap down, but I'm trying to filter out the best to watch and set alarms and to trade at the open. So these things that are just sloppy, I don't even want to watch them. Like this. It's gapping up to 1766. It's gapping up right there. There's no pattern there. I'm just going to delete you. ATUS, same. ANSS will come back. This is a kind of, depending on how you turn your head, symmetrical triangle into the 220. It's gapping down, so I would only be interested if it were to recover. We'll come back to you. ON's a buy setup, but from a square top. Oh, I noticed AMD strong with the video, but no pattern. It's gapping right here to the breakdown area. Uniform gapping down. It's just a total mess. Hey, Alex, remind me, let's go through my core watch list when things slow down. All right, Minter, $3 stock, no pattern. All right, this was a bullish pattern, and now it's getting whacked on earnings. So that's that's a shock pattern to the bulls. Bull trend. Gap in the, wow, that's a big old gap. LNTH, that's massive. W whiskey, look, I don't know what happened pre-market. This was on my short watch list yesterday, and it didn't trigger. This has room. This has room to 40-ish. So let's watch W whiskey on a bounce because it's down a bit. All right, DBA move stop break even or yesterday's low if you have filled. I did not. All right, so that I got a couple of alarms here. All right, should we entered yesterday as a breakout? This number earnings, see that it went too much. I was hoping that it would have. I was hoping it would open more flattish. All right, so no interest in that anymore. Clorox, low alarm. We've been in trail mode.